In my last video about Crowder, I had gone over the fact that Crowder had edited a Stop Asian Hate article in two different ways, one showing off a hate crime data, and the other showing off criminal data. It made it seem like he switched it just so that he could show that black people had a higher percent in a dataset, even though that dataset wasn't relevant to Asian hate. In other words, Crowder had acted in complete bad faith. It would seem weird to write the first one and not just stick with and make the second edit. Why write an edit including hate crime data that's relevant, and then make another edit including criminal data, while then removing said hate crime data? There is a possible explanation to all of the shenanigans. That Crowder's experiment was to test right versus left bias. Which one was removed more? It would bring into question of why not show these other bias tests in his video. So let's find out. Crowder at the beginning of his video tells us the usernames of which he used to edit.
Today we wanted to test if Wikipedia does in fact push an agenda with the article. So we created an account. And here's what we'll do. We'll show you an article.
The total major edits of all of these accounts come out to roughly 25. Based on those edits, I've decided to break them into three categories: pro-right, pro-left, and for third, pro-uncertain. As the name implies, I have no idea who it's supposed to be written against or for. We can generally figure out if the edits are pro-right or left based on Crowder's video, if they're blatant enough, or as Crowder puts it.
Yes. Here's the thing, there's no right-leaning source offering a counterbalancing opinion. If this is going to be the #1 research portal in the world, 18 billion views per month, all we need to see is a counterbalance, which they claim in their own neutrality guidelines, right? It's supposed to be neutral. Okay, so we made an edit.
We're just going to give a quick look at the two uncertain since they're short, and I would like to know what your guys' opinion on them is, as whether they're pro-right, pro-left, or they're attempting to be neutral. The first one was edited onto a wiki about gender pay gap in the United States. A 2021 study found that gender pay gap increased in Europe across all industries that implemented greater levels of robotization. This one was removed because it was from Europe and not the United States. Otherwise, to me, it seemed pretty neutral. The second one was edited on to Winsome Sears Wiki, who is a Republican lieutenant governor for Virginia. The newly elected lieutenant governor was criticized by Georgetown University sociology professor and New York Times contributing opinion writer Michael Eric Dyson, who characterized her as a blackface speaking in behalf of white supremacist legacy. I can't figure it out if it's being used as a dig against Dyson or Sears, but either way, it can't be used by Crowder to show bias against the right, as it was removed because the editors considered it to be a smear against the Republican. These other pro-left edits make me sure that bringing up hate crime data wasn't a mistake or a fluke, but as a measure to collect data on bias against leftist edits, as I'm doubtful that Crowder would willingly write that Joe Biden received over 80 million votes and is the most popular president by turnout in the United States history, or that, though not a Nazi himself, Shapiro has often contributed to fascist and white supremacist ideologies through his extensive use of divisive and racially charged rhetoric. That doesn't come off natural for Steven Crowder, unless he's playing a character of some sort, but it does further substantiate that the hate crime data edit was done as a leftist bias test. However, it still doesn't take away from the fact that his crime data edit was still done in complete bad faith. Now, to test bias, we look at how many pro-right edits were removed versus how many pro-left edits were removed. And in total, we get 11 removed pro-right edits and 4 removed pro-left edits. So in total, we have 61% of pro-right edits that were removed, and in comparison, we have 80% of pro-left edits that were removed. This becomes completely ironic, as Crowder makes this over 50-minute video to come to this conclusion, which turns out to be the opposite. So Crowder wanted to show that there was bias against right-wing content and edits by his own experiment. Even if we were to add the uncertain values to the pro-right column, it would still show that there is a bias against leftist edits rather than pro-right edits. That's why in this video, we never get to see any of these other pro-left edits. We only get to see the pro-right edits being removed, as to create the illusion that there's this leftist bias. It's a good grift, as long as no one checks your work. This wraps up this short video. I'm not going to turn it into an over 50-minute video like Crowder, but you know the biz. Sources down below, and thanks for watching.